Hey Jay, did you know that? Actually, before we get into this segment, I love your hat, man.
Ooh, I like yours too, man.
This is probably is this the first time? Now I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna go, yeah, but we've done like live events and stuff where we both have Parts Counter Gurus hats on.
Yeah,
but they weren't identical, were they? Is this
No.
This might be the first time we've ever worn the same hat,
right,
on a video.
Look at this.
Like
Fantastic.
literally, like, you know, it's the time paradox where you can't meet yourself in the same space, or like weird things, time folds in on itself or whatever.
Right.
All right,
Exactly.
So there's a story here. So,
First, subscribe.
Yes. So
Make sure you subscribe, please. We love you. We want you to come back.
We've got a
Subscribe,
segment
please.
that has to do with Ford, but before we get to this Ford segment here in just a minute, shout out to Matt at the Lansing Lug Nuts. They are a minor league baseball team. You're never going to guess where. This is their logo. This is one of their hats.
Okay, does it rhyme with Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I got a couple of these. These are hard to find. Like, everybody's back ordered on everything now. There's global shortages. They have some other cool, like their Loco stuff. But my son, as we've discussed many times, is into Little League. And this season, Jay spotted these hats about a year ago. And he's like, we got to get these, man. They tie right into kind of what we do.
Right.
And my son, this year, the theme this season is they're all going with minor league teams. And they're all wearing the uniforms.
Right.
So I was just like, well, why not? Let's go get a couple of these minor league hats, and you know,
I love it, man.
So there you go.
I'm glad you did. Thanks for the hat. I really appreciate it, and thank you for getting those shipped out to us, Matt.
Yeah, Matt,
we really appreciate that.
Who is with the Lansing Lug Nuts, took care of the order, wrote me a little thank you note. Didn't even know who I was, but yeah, just said thanks. So we're thanking you back, Matt.
Right, and Matt, just so you know how I there's a transplant here where I live that happened to be in a local brewery, and he had the Lansing Loco hat on, the alternative hat that you guys have. And I'm looking at it going, how cool is that? And he went on to explain to me about the Lansing Lug Nuts, and I mentioned it to Keith, and we kind of checked it out. We're like, that is so awesome. So great logo, great name, and just so happens, you know, you're up in Lansing, Michigan, and
we've been there many times, right?
Yeah, and I think we've got we're going to talk about Ford, who happens to be up in your neck of the woods. So let's keep it local for you guys here. What's exciting about what Ford is doing? And here's the thing. Keith is really good. He digs really, really deep into the weeds sometimes with the stuff that's going on in the industry. Yeah, and even outside of the normal part of our industry. And I knew that Ford dabbled into some things, but I didn't really know about this. So let's talk about it, Keith.
Let me see if I can tie this all together. So I want to guess roughly about a year ago. I'm pretty bad at that. Like things sometimes feel like they were just a few months ago to me, and it turns out they weren't. Or, you know, sometimes, you know, it was a year ago and it feels like yesterday. Spatial relations, man, not my thing. But okay.
Yeah.
But we did a report on a partnership that Ford announced with Google.
Yeah.
On a podcast. I want to say it was roughly a year ago.
About a year ago, yeah.
And all the media outlets picked this up, and they went, oh, well, look, they're just going to use Google Maps. It's going to be a partnership in the cars, and that's going to be the end of it. And, you know, it makes sense. Google Maps, Ford does the map work, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No. Yeah, that's a part of it. But much bigger strategy, much bigger picture, and we told you as much when even then, a year ago.
I hate to say I told you so.
That there was something else in the works, that there was more to this deal than just Google providing map data to Ford for their in-console automobiles.
Absolutely.
So it turns out that Ford has an ownership interest in a company called Spin. Now they make e-bikes and e-scooters. And I just got an e-bike. Jay helped me with that process. We've got a video that's going to come out on that soon. So there's another reason for you to subscribe and click the bell. But they call it their Micromobility division. And Ford has been eyeing this for a while now, years. They've looked at bike rental situations, loan, like all this micromobility stuff, the scooters, and they are test piloting. Spin is the name of the company in Omaha, Nebraska.
Right.
But what they are going to use Google's strengths for is, see, Google has a leg up on a lot of the other mapping competitors in that they'll give you public transportation routes. Like if you want to ride the metro in Washington, D.C., if you want to bike, they'll give you the fastest bicycle route to wherever you want to go, Union Tavern or wherever.
Right.
And here where I live in the South, that has not caught on as much yet. The commuter movement isn't there yet. It will be.
Right.
But it is happening. It is only going to get bigger. E-bikes are cool for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. And so Ford has recognized this, and they said, yeah, we think this is going to be a thing. We think it's only going to get bigger.
Right.
And we're partnering with Google to help basically position ourselves in that space.
Right. So Spin is the name of this, as Keith mentioned. And I think that they were founded in San Francisco in 2017. And that was in January of 2017, I think. And they said later that year, in 2017, they launched their first city-permitted stationless bike share fleet in Seattle, which is in my neck of the woods. And I remember when that happened, there was a bit of controversy with it, I think, at first, because people just didn't know what to do with it.
Well, we have them here, too. And, Nashville's gotten so filthy with, just drunk people doing stupid crap outside of honky-tonk bars on Broadway. And the problem they run into with these scooters is that, they're riding them, I'll be downtown, and literally they've had to put signs up that say, don't ride them on the sidewalks. You're going to run over people. I mean, these things will do 15, 20 miles an hour.
Right.
And then they're drunk at 3 a.m. and they're racing them out in traffic, and then they're only doing 15 miles an hour and they're getting run over and they're not wearing helmets. And so the whole sort of bar scene and electric vehicle mobility, that doesn't mix very well.
There's always some loose lug nut, man.
Right.
There's always some loose lug nut, right? I mean, come on. Really, really, really? So they got to mess it up for everybody else. So in November, So in November of 2018, Spin they were acquired by Ford in November 2018, joining the Ford Mobility Division. A little bit more history on that. In 2019, Spin partnered with Better Block Foundation, the first ever parklet design competition focused on scooters, which I think is good. In July of that year, they rebranded with a new logo, visual design, and new scooter. And in 2019, they announced Mobility Data for Safer Streets initiative. This ties into what we're doing right now, what we're talking about, which is why Google, this whole Google thing with the maps.
Yeah, they're not going to take you right down the middle of the busiest street where you're going to get run over by a.
Absolutely.
If you're in San Francisco, by a trolley or
Right.
I mean, it's and these things are pretty advanced. They have tip over detection on them. My son's got a Segway scooter, doesn't have that.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing, man, what this app will do for you, and we're going to get into a little bit of that. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about how the growth has happened here. I remember when Spin started in Seattle, but here we are, February of 2021, this year. Spin launched the S200, which is a three-wheeled remote operated scooter. They also launched this year in outlets in Madrid and Tarragona, which is the first two cities in Spain. They also launched this year in Edmonton, Alberta, marking the first Canadian location. And here we are now, and this very month they launched in Portugal, making it the sixth country where Spin operates. That's pretty amazing growth.
Well, and there's a demand for it. And I know that some of you watching this and you're like, these people cause accidents and they get in the way and they do stupid stuff. And you're not wrong. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely a demand for it. I mean, think about places like Washington, D.C., where, yes, walking is healthy, but, if you want to see several different Smithsonians in one day.
You better grab a scooter.
And some of those metro stops are not, they're a mile or so apart, and it just, you're not sweaty and 95 degrees,
right.
And you're still doing plenty of walking if you're touring Smithsonian's anyway.
Well,
or you work a mile and a half from your apartment or condo or whatever. I mean,
it's a no-brainer to me, especially you there's really no need to get in a vehicle if you're that close and
Right.
you need to get there quicker than just walking. And you're right. Walking is obviously healthier, but this is a great alternative to those that you may be carrying quite a bit of weight on your backpack and you need to get there quick or whatever. So it works out. But
or you just got it. You're going to the gym, or you need to take
Right.
your person to a thing.
right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And,
now, your
yeah.
experience on your electric bike, your
Yeah.
e-bike,
Oh man.
when you got that and when you were here driving it around,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, hey, I'm leaving the campground now. I'll see you. And you would literally be already almost here by the time I'm getting off the hill coming down from my condo to meet you.
Oh, and I was messing around too.
Yeah, and at a shorter distance. So it's a viable mode of
Well, they'll do 30.
transportation.
The e-bikes will do 30.
Yeah.
Class 3 will do 28 miles an hour. So and I'll tell you that if I lived where you lived and the weather was tolerable, meaning it was 50 degrees or warmer, that's
Right.
all I do. That's it.
Yeah.
Unless I needed to get off the island or I needed to go on a BWRU, which you could do like a 6-pack in your backpack, but
Sure.
if I was going on a serious grocery run or something or the hardware store, then yeah, you take your
Right.
car. But man, I'd be going everywhere on that thing.
Oh,
I do it
absolutely.
now, but around here people get mad at me, and even though this is the funny one is I'll be
Right.
I'll be in a 25 mile an hour zone. And I'm doing 30, and I got people
Right.
passing me, giving me screwy looks because I've gotten in their
Right.
way.
Right. Absolutely.
Now I can own the lane if I can do the speed limit. That's the
Right.
rules.
So Spin is currently in 84 cities.
Sorry, you got me onto a little traffic rant there, but
Right.
okay.
That's fine. That's fine. It's good. It's good. It's good. Let's get to the point here. The meat on the bone here is that Spin is in 84 cities. So they're coming to a city probably near you. And it makes sense that they're going to be they're not going to be in every single city, but they will be in the larger cities that it's a commuter problem, heavily congested with vehicles, like San Francisco, like Seattle, and you've got maybe huge campuses, we've got Amazon, you've got Google, you've got all these big campuses around here that just makes sense. So tell them about the app, Keith. What's the integration? What comes with that app, and what has Ford done with Google to make this thing even better?
Before I forget, and we'll get to that quickly here, I promise. But I need a special message here to the folks at Spin. Okay.
Okay, I'm listening.
I don't know if it's because I've been watching all these James Bond movies lately, and we've got the new one about to come out, which I'm super stoked about. Seeing what they do with not just the Aston Martins, if it's going to be in there, but they've got a partnership with Land Rover. I kind of want to see how that plays out. This is what I need to see from Ford and Spin.
Right.
Okay, I need you guys to work this out. I need a James Bond style situation where there's a storage compartment in the vehicle where I can throw one of these scooters or a bike, and it charges up. And then I can pull up and just pop it out of the back of my Mach-E, right? It's fully charged, or my F-150 Lightning or whatever, right?
Right.
And bonus points if you make it a cool ejection scenario where I can jump it shoots the bike off, whatever. I don't know. You got to work through all the safety stuff, but I'm just saying you got company A over here and company B over here, and they're just begging to be connected somehow.
Hey. Yeah, they are. And you know what would make it really interesting? I like where you're going with that. Hey, Ford, here's some marketing for you. How about for every Mach-E you sell, you get a free scooter?
There you go. Yeah.
That's incentive.
Or some sort of, yeah,
something. Yeah,
so back to the app. So, charging stations is a big one, right? And is that where you were going with this, is being able to locate charging stations on the app?
That, charging stations, and where you can locate them, period.
The scooter itself.
The scooter itself,
right.
yeah, absolutely. And I thought, what's most important to people is what this app offers you.
Well, it's just like an EV, dude. I mean,
right.
You got the on-screen infotainment system in your Mach-E that shows you where, we literally podcasted inside of Mach-E. Go check that one out, partscounterguru.com.
Right.
And pulled up the map, and it was hey, let's remember the joke. Let's go charge at Nissan and see if they say anything.
Right.
I just wish we had more time in life to pull stunts like that, man.
So the app is pretty cool. I mean, I messed around with it a little bit. I don't own a bike, but I just wanted to see how it worked, and it's pretty intuitive.
Yep.
Pretty easy to use. It will show you where these scooters are available in your area.
Yep.
It will also show you. You will know you can know what the range is on what scooters are there.
Yep.
It will tell you the status of those things.
And they make bicycles too. Not to be, it's just they're not as available. They're not as readily available.
They're not as readily available. That is correct. But this is, I think it's a win-win for Ford, man. It makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
They're like the master of fleet.
I don't know. Yeah. I just, whatever has transitioned in that company in the past decade, it's been... I think it's been documentary worthy, like how they've just run the company and several different CEOs over that time frame, and somehow they're doing all right. Yeah,
they've kind of they dropped back and they didn't punt, they just retooled, and they came out of the other side pretty good.
When life throws boulders at you, you just build a Bronco, right?
Exactly. Why not?
Jake's got a Bronco video out. Is this where you were gonna? Yeah, you just released it. It's pretty great. There's a lot of stuff out there on the Bronco already, but there are very few that will show you a walk around of the vehicle that will give you an inside expert in Cameron that tells us things that he has direct knowledge of through Ford. Then we go on a drive and you get to see what it drives like. They do the top takedown. We talk about that. We talk about all the aftermarket stuff. I mean, and I say we, it's you. But that's the video. Go check it out. It's on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/partscountergurus with an S, right?
That would be us, man.
There you go.
Yeah. And well done, Ford. Well done.
Yeah.
You guys are on a roll.